the early hours of June 24th and 25th of 2021, security officials of the United Arab Emirates raided residential buildings in Abu Dhabi and murdered at least 700 African migrant workers into a prison. The workers' hands and feet were cuffed for the first 2 weeks in detention, and the women among them were refused access to sanitary pads and medical aid. These details are alleged in a report published by two human rights organizations, Impact International and Euro-Mediterranean Human Rights Monitor, that accuses the UAE of racially motivated human rights violation. Over 20 on the record testimonies from workers mostly from Uganda, Nigeria, and Cameroon are contained in the report, with a video showing what appears to be scenes from the nights of the raid. The operation was carried out by the UAE's Special Weapons and Tactics Team, the SWAT, Criminal Investigation Department, and Abu Dhabi Police, according to the report. Before breaking into the workers' apartments, the officers disabled surveillance and Wi-Fi installation using stun guns and tasers on the workers during arrest. They stole everything in my room. They beat me and took me half naked, only with my sleeping clothes, said a 34-year-old Malachi Kemfo Karos, a Cameroonian man who said he had been in the UAE since October 2019 and worked at a restaurant in Abu Dhabi. They made it known to them that this was pure racism and that they don't need black Africans anymore in their country. Queen Nkachi, a Nigerian woman who said she lived with her husband and illegally worked as a cleaner in the capital city, said the CID officer that took her was touching her buttocks and breasts. In that building, they were touching people's private parts, all in the name of arrest. The officers asked for IDs and visas, but even when most of the workers presented both, they were taken to Al Wathba prison in Abu Dhabi and cramped into cells and dire conditions. The workers were held for an average of 6 weeks, after which the UAE authorities put them on commercial flights to their home countries without any personal belongings, barring travel documents and phones for some. Most of these workers were deported in the first week of August, but an unknown number are still detained in the UAE, according to the reports. The UAE's Interior Minister and its ministry all at large said it arrested and detained 376 men and women for human trafficking offenses, indecent acts, and extortion and assault cases that threaten security of the society. It also stated that the process was based on conclusive evidence and that it was done as part of a legal procedure to address crimes related to human trafficking and cases of harm to women and extortion, assault, and acts contrary to public morality. It said most of the workers had been deported, except 50 individuals still detained because they lacked travel documents. But workers and the two rights groups say racism was a motivation in this raid. We are brutally prosecuted on the basis of skin color, said Kenneth Lubangakane, a Ugandan teacher who spent 38 days in Al Wathba. They made it known to us that this was pure racism and they don't need black Africans anymore in their country, said Lawrence Kingsley Ikechukwu, a Nigerian man who said he and his 60-year-old mother were deported together. In a statement, Michela Unglizi, who researches migration at Euro-Med Monitor, said the UAE actions were undoubtedly racially motivated mass human rights violation, and it's continuing within the UAE even right now. Because they are resource rich and in need of labor. Countries in the Gulf region attract large groups of migrant workers, particularly from Asia and Africa. The availability of visa-free travel for some countries and Dubai's effort to attract African middle-class visitors has increased interest in the region. 90% of the country's 9 million people consist of foreigners. But migrant labor in the UAE is often cheap and without clearly defined rights, leaving workers vulnerable to the whims of their employers, or in the case of these African workers, the state. There is a dire need to bring justice to the victims, Pongulis said. He suggests that workers should make cases to their own home ministries of foreign affairs to generate political pressure towards justice and submit complaints to the International Labour Organization against the UAE. It is not clear what such efforts will result in. Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has not responded to Quad's request for comment. The story may be updated in the coming days or if anything changes. Some workers said they did not hear back from their countries' embassies when their families tried to log complaints, pending any justice. The workers will have to restart life without assets they had while in the UAE. Veronica Ebude, a Cameroonian woman who said she had been in the UAE since 2017, said she had a valid visa that would expire on the 24th of December that year. I came back to my country only with my phone. My birth certificate and my documents are still there. These people kidnapped us and sent us back. We don't have anything. We don't know what to do with our lives now, he said, according to the report. This is not the first time the UAE does this. Not only the UAE, but also many countries where Africans sell everything they have at home to go there and start a new life, only to end up being deported with totally nothing. But hey, what do you think about these, dear brothers and sisters? The UAE deporting close to 700 people and the treatment they go through during the process of the raids. Let's discuss in the comment section. My name is Osie The Born Child, and thank you so much for watching the African Diaspora News channel and the African Diaspora News Insider. Until next time, bye-bye. Love you all.